Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 21 of Be With Me. We're in the final chapter of the book of James, that is James chapter 5. Yesterday, we looked at this dystopian kind of a day and where money started to talk. If your money could talk, what would it say about us? It was the day of judgment where wages that were corruptly kept against workers were crying out against the current owner, and silver and gold were corroding, and treasure was flesh eating. It was the day of judgment. So today we're going to say, what are we supposed to be doing in the meantime before we get to that day? And that is be patient. Listen to this. This is from James chapter 5, verse 7. Be patient, therefore, brothers. And he's going to describe what kind of patience he's looking for. And so my title today is, But What Kind of Patience Shall We Have? So listen here. Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, being patient about it until it receives the early and the late rains. You also be patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. Do not grumble against one another, brothers, that you may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing at the door. As an example of suffering and patient, brothers, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. Behold, we consider those blessed who remained steadfast. You have heard of the steadfastness of Job, and you have seen the purpose of the Lord, how the Lord is compassionate and merciful. But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. So this passage is all about patience. And we're asking the question, but what kind of patience shall we have? And he uses a couple different examples. He uses the patience of a farmer. He uses the patience of a prophet. He uses an example of what kind of a mouth we should be having while we wait. And then finally, what kind of a heart we're supposed to have. So let's just talk about this. He asks us to be patient, brothers. It's a unisex word, so it means brothers and sisters here. Be patient, brothers and sisters, until the coming of the Lord. And then he uses the example of a farmer. It's the guy who understands, or the gal who understands, that something is going to happen in August, which is so valuable that it's going to change the way that you behave in April, the April before that. That is, there's going to be precious fruit. So I love this, that he emphasizes that the farmer knows that it is precious fruit that he is after. It's something that's valued. It's something that's anticipated, and it's achieved by this feature characteristic they're talking about here is patience. So it's not a passive patience, it's a working patience. There's a whole lot of not yet today in this little section of Scripture. So being patient like a farmer means to work now all the time, looking towards the harvest, appreciating the value of the harvest, and trusting in the principles that if you do this now, you're going to get that then. That is providing abundancy, and it's going to be worth it, and it's worthy, and the harvest is precious. So first of all, he uses the example of be patient like a farmer. Another big example he uses here is be patient like a prophet. And that is a guy who is aware, with prophetess too, aware and acknowledging that there's going to be some suffering. All the prophets suffered. Christ obviously is our best example of that, but the prophets aren't too bad either. The point is suffering all the way to the end, and being a finisher, being a conqueror, being a person that finishes well. He uses the example of Job here, probably the best example. And there's some bad examples in Scripture. Jonah comes to mind. But then all these guys of the New Testament, oh my goodness, the guys that finished so well, that walked with Jesus, Peter, the super knucklehead, John's, and even James, who wrote this letter, other people from the Old Testament, Isaiah. I was thinking in Isaiah that for 3 years, God told Isaiah, this is from chapter 20 of Isaiah, he told him to walk around without pants on. I'm sure that was not much fun for him. He kind of said, I want you to engage in like this spiritual street theater and act the oracle because Israel is trusting in Egypt. And the point is that Egypt isn't wearing any pants and they're not anybody to trust in. And this is a sign against Egypt. So don't trust them. So I'm sure Isaiah was not very excited about that, but he pursued and was patient with the Lord all the way through that. So it's the idea of being faithful to something that you don't fully see accomplished. All right, so the word in verse 8 is the one I wanted to drill down on today, which is establish your heart. It means to confirm, to strengthen, to fix firmly in place until what is hoped for is achieved or seen at least. That is, support your heart, establish in a place, strengthen it, make your hearts marked by firm determination, strong, planted, established. So the hearts we kind of have back to the farmer. We're supposed to have the heart of a farmer who knows the when and knows that it's precious and knows the work and has spiritual callouses in the meantime. And the heart of the prophet who is looking forward to something and has the courage to finish well and even suffer through it. So what kind of patience should we have? Is it a passive patience? Not at all in this passage. This passage says the patience that we are supposed to be having is a working, enduring, building, strengthening patience. It's a patience that trusts in its accomplishment and it sees its preciousness and its value. It's one that doesn't grumble against our fellow brothers and sisters who are with us. It's one that doesn't swear bad oaths. It's one that has an eye to judgment. So think about, the future, about our words. It's about farmers and about prophets. That's the kind of patience that we are to have as we establish our hearts. So let's today work, build them strong, get our spiritual callouses, and be patient like farmers, be patient like prophets, and establish our hearts. Thanks for listening. I pray that your heart be strengthened today, established. See you tomorrow.